important information because I have already seen that 2 times. I saw that in my text yesterday, and I saw it in this text today. So I know it's important. So let me go back to my table of contents and see if... So I'm going to flip to page 28, Changes and Renovations. And I see by my title I'm on the correct page. And I noticed there are some captions, so let me read those and see if they have any answers. The original torch is now on display in the Monuments Museum. That's cool. The Roman numerals on the Liberty's tablet read July 4th, 1776, the date of the Declaration of Independence was signed. That's really interesting. I never knew that before. But I still don't have my answer about my color. So let me look. Today, the Statue of Liberty is over 100 years old. Wow. She has stood through many storms and seasons, and her appearance has changed relatively little. One thing that has changed quite a bit is her torch. The torch's original lights were not very bright, but today the old torch is completely replaced with a new torch made of copper and covered in gold leaf. The gold shines in the sunlight during the day and lit by floodlights at night. In the 1980s, the statue underwent extensive renovations. The many years of rain and pollen left Liberty's framework rusted and corroded. Her iron beams were removed one by one, and craftsmen made exact copies of each beam in stainless steel and placed the new beams back in the statue. That is really interesting and maybe some information that I'm going to want to hold on to. But I still don't know what color. So I'm going to, and it's okay that my answer is not 100% answered yet. So I'm just going to write brown, question mark, and green, question mark, because I am a little unsure. So, what year was it built? So I thought yesterday that it was built sometime in the 1980s, but I want to figure out what year it was built. So let me go to my table of contents yet again. Now this is very important. I know we keep going back to it, but the table of contents is so important because if you don't go to the table of contents and you just read through all the text, that's a lot of text. And you're using up a lot of time to read all that text. And although you would gain a lot of knowledge by doing it that way, it would just take a long time. So researchers use special features like the table of contents to help them make sure that they're staying on track and focusing on that one question. Because if I read this whole book, I would forget that I'm looking for what year it was built in. I will get sidetracked on all of my other wonderings and all the other things that come up in this text. So that's why we use our table of contents a lot. So let's see if any of our titles in our table of contents tell us what year it was built, or tell us where we could look for that. A symbol of freedom and opportunity. Origins of liberty. Let's see, that's page 6. Because I know origins tells us like where something came from. So let me see. Origins of Liberty. Well, let me see my captions. Edward de Lamballe. That must be his name. France's flag is something called the tricolor. It was created in the 1700s during the French Revolution. That's interesting, but that still doesn't tell us what year it was built. So we're going to have to read our text. It was the summer of 1875, almost 100 years since the founding fathers had signed the Declaration of Independence and gave birth to the United States of America. A man named Edward de Lamballe, and a lawyer and teacher who admired America's strength and ideals, held a party in his home in France. At his party, Lamballe discussed building a monument that would create America's 100 years, that would celebrate America's 100 years of independence. France had helped America achieve its independence from the British in the Revolutionary War. Lamballe felt that a statue that combined the efforts of both the Americans and the French would be a perfect symbol of friendship between the two countries. That's interesting. This man, he was the one who decided to build the statue. But we know that he decided in the summer of 1875. But I don't know if that's really when it was built. So let's go back to our table of contents. Look! Building Liberty. Page. I've already read this piece of text. But I see that there's another page after it that does not have a header. So I know that this page they go together. So I know I can read this page too. So it says, finally, on October 1886, Liberty was ready. Boats full of people swarmed in the bay around the statue. So finally, on October 22nd, 1886, so I know that it was built in 1886. Now, it was thought of in 1875, but it was finished in 1886. That's really cool. So let me write on my chart. It was finished October 28th, 1886. That's really cool. And that means it's really old. Oh, I see this part that says, did you know? I wonder what this is about. And I see that it has a penny, and I know a penny is made of copper. So maybe this will tell us finally what color it is. The statue's surface is made of copper, just like a penny. And originally, it was the color of a shiny new penny. It looks greenish and white today because over the years, it has developed patina, a coating that occurs naturally on the surface of copper. A patina develops when the copper metal interacts with the elements in the air and rain. The patina helps protect the statue from the weather, and some think that it also adds to the statue's beauty. So now I see. So I'm actually gonna cover up this part where I added these questions of brown and green, because now I can answer that. Now if it was pencil, you could just erase it, but since mine is in marker, I'm going to need to cover mine up.